Right. Hey, everyone. This is Paul Steele. I am creating this video to be your pre-race briefing for the 2024 CheNarr Adventure Race. And just wanted to go over a few things and make sure that everyone knows what's going on. And also, I want to do it here and now so that we can have this video prepared in advance of the race actually starting. Last year, I took too much of your time with your maps by going over the rules, and I don't want to do that again this year. So we're going to record this before the race starts and let you guys know what's going on from there. So first, want to start out that the check-in for the race is at 5:30. Race starts at 7. Should give you, if you're there at 5:30, that is when we will start distributing the maps and the rules of travel and everything else briefly. That'll give you an hour and a half to plan your map, to plan your routes, and do the rest. Hopefully, that's enough time to work through this. Secondly, there is no bike drop. I know that the website, when you guys all signed up, noted that you would be dropping bikes at the bike drop location. We had to do some rerouting of the course due to some tornado damage and then a complication with the private properties that was related to where the tornado damage was. That ended up meaning that a corridor we were going to use to have a different paddle section just was not accessible. So we punted, and some of the paddle portion of the course especially will feel familiar to those that did the race last year. But that was the best we could do on a punt due to some tornado damage and a really deep ravine. Nobody wants to walk through 30 to 40 trees falling across each other like this. It was a mess. So from that, we are starting the race on bikes, which means you will not be dropping the bikes down on the course somewhere else. We have 12 hours to finish. So from that 7 a.m. start at 7 p.m., you will be finished. Someone arriving after 7 p.m. will be docked a point. And every 5 minutes after that, if 7:05 hits and you haven't come back, you'll be docked an additional point, and every 5 minutes thereafter. So this is a key thing to be on time, as being late holds a pretty significant penalty because you will be scored first by the number of checkpoints achieved, and then time is just a tiebreaker after that. If you finish before someone with the same checkpoints, you would be ranked above that other team. So I wanted to go through briefly what I sent out in Racer Communication number 1. First, the paddle section. The water is high. There is some rain in the forecast. It is possible that water will go higher than the maximum level that the State Parks Association, that the State Park Service allows us to operate this race. We are using one of their public takeouts to end the paddle section, so we are subject to their rules, and their rules say that water levels above 4 feet starts to get hazardous. Water levels above 5 feet, they close it down for safety. It is likely to be between that 4 to 5 foot range, which means that a normally really calm river might look more like something with Class 2 whitewater on it due to the water surface elevation. It's not hazardous in the sense that you're going to flip a whole bunch. It just means that it's not a lazy float at these water surface elevations. Honestly, it's pretty fun in this range. However, if it does get above 5 feet, we will have to cancel the paddle section. So there's a TA with a paddle and a trek section down at the Narrows. We will just remove the paddle, and you'll ride your bike down, do a short trek section, and get back on your bike and come back in. So that's not ideal if that happens, and we will let you know via email before that happens. But hopefully we'll make that decision really close to start. Second, there is one checkpoint of concern on this course. So I am going to show this on the screen here. And note that this checkpoint here, checkpoint 11, there was a checkpoint very close to this location last year on the creek bank at a red ladder. This year, the checkpoint is slightly behind the creek bank. You will need to climb up a ladder to get to the shore behind it to find the checkpoint. The checkpoint's roughly where the hand is. Or the ladder's roughly where the hand is. It's very close to the checkpoint on the map. That ladder, there will be a significant amount of current, and it's likely that the only way that a canoeer is able to climb the ladder is if the person in the back of the boat paddles to the ladder while the front person gets out, gets a checkpoint, returns. A kayaker, I believe we have a couple of solo racers, the solos in kayaks will need to tie their boats off to the ladder or to roots close to that ladder, or that boat will float downstream. The water surface elevations are high to the point where this is significantly difficult. So we do require some rope, which is not on the gear list that is on the website, but that is an additional item needed in order to access that checkpoint in particular. Second, or not second, but just of note, the Wildlife Management Agency, the outdoor area, has a shooting range. So this is land that is often used by hunters, and we, for probably pretty obvious reasons, run this race outside of any hunting season. So there's no one hunting on the land while this is occurring. But particularly when you're on the north end of the course, you may hear gunshots. Those gunshots are folks firing in a firing range. They are not around you. They are not shooting near you. They are at a range. So I want everyone to realize gunshots are something to be expected out here, and will be localized at that firing range. Just need to address that in case anyone gets freaked out in the woods. You are not being shot at. Lastly, I wanted to go over the rules of travel briefly. You'll be receiving this at race check-in, but we're gonna roll through this real quick. So looking quickly at our rules of travel. So first, anyone who leaves the start finish, completes leg 3, which leg 3 is the paddle, and returns to the start finish is an official finisher. No checkpoints are mandatory, but you do have to move your boat from the TA2 to TA3, or you are not an official finisher. Second, we are co-locating this event with the Music City Trail Ultra. The Ultra is the longest course is a 50K, so folks will start after you and finish before you on this. Your course and the MCTU barely touch, so I don't expect you to ever encounter any racers, but if you do, especially if you're on bikes, yield to the racers. Obviously, we don't want you to run over anybody that's on foot. On the map, in a few spots, you'll note MCTU aid stations. So if you are looking at those, like this one here is close to point 25. If you are really dying for water or food, you can bike this quick piece of road to this aid station and gather supplies so long as it's while that station is still open. So I wanted everyone to be aware of that. You are welcome at those aid stations, but they are not necessarily convenient locations on your course. You won't be going by them naturally. Checkpoints. There are 26 total checkpoints on the course, and they are numbered in a way that many of you will find quite dumb. They are CPs 1 through 6 and then 10 through 29. That reroute that I was talking about happened after a few CPs were already hung, and we rerouted them. And as a result, 3 checkpoints, number 7 through 9, are simply not on the map. We rerouted very late in the game here. So you have 26. Don't go looking for number 7. You're not going to find it. It's not on your map. TAs are manned by volunteers. The paddle TAs down at the bottom are only open from 10 to 6. So you probably will need to do something other than beelining straight from the paddles. It's March. We don't want anybody on there when it's still really cold in the early morning. So we're not going to we will not start the paddle until 10 a.m. So plan your route accordingly. I already went over scoring. Private property. These maps, there's all this orange in this area, and it's clearly called out of bounds. There's orange all over the map. These orange areas are places you should not be going. They are private property. We don't have permission to be on those land areas, so please don't wander off into them. Pipelines. So this property has a lot of natural gas pipelines that intersect it. Some places you can ride the pipelines on your bike and they are really fun. Other places they're much steeper than any road would ever be. So if we go back on the map and look, sorry, wrong direction, and look up here near CPs 20 and 21, you see this pipeline crossing lots of contours really fast. Just because the pipeline does it does not mean that it's rideable or should be ridden by anyone. These were not designed for bikes. It is like a miniature ski slope. If you go straight down this, you will end up in the hospital with some broken bones on a bike. So walk down these areas or ride around. These roadways are pretty easy travel areas. This out of bounds should not include the roadway itself. You can ride the road itself in this area. Roads and trails. Want to note that a road that looks like this and a black line that looks like this are the same designation on the map. It just means that this was already here on the base map while I added this while I was scouting the course. Trails are red dashes on the maps. And that's most of it. I guess one other thing, there were a few areas where I discovered that roads showed on the base map did not actually exist. So up here near CP16, the end of the road is here where my cursor is. The fact that there's a road that looks like it's going this way, it's not there. That's why we have orange X's in this area. Please don't be confused by that. And yeah, that's that for the rules of travel. We've got 4 legs here. Leg 1, you're going to be biking in and out of several areas. You'll leave your bike in a few places, but this is where the majority of the checkpoints in the course are. And you will be going after those in due time. The Cheatham Trek is a southern potential loop, depending on how you do it, containing 7 total checkpoints. You have to visit these on foot. You cannot bike to the checkpoints on leg 2. Leg 3 only has a single checkpoint, and it is difficult to access, as we've already discussed. It's also in what's essentially one of my personal friend's backyards. Please be respectful on that property. And then leg 4 is in the Narrows. We have a few checkpoints, and I want to show you that briefly. I did a little cutaway here. Narrows on the map is really congested and hard to tell what's what. I blew it up to a 1/6000 instead of 1/24,000 scale to show you how the trails and the checkpoints in this area interact. So this is what this looks like. Checkpoint number 13 in particular, there is some relatively wide rocks above the waterfall coming out of the tunnel. The checkpoint will be around the base of a tree immediately above the waterfall. Please be careful when you're going up there to get it, but it's really cool to be on top of a waterfall accessing this checkpoint. So enjoy that, but don't run to that one. And that is most of my screen sharing that I feel like I need to do. I will attach this video to an email, and it'll serve as our formal race briefing. We will be available for questions after check-in between that 5:30 and 7 a.m. in that hour and a half that you guys have with the maps before we officially get started. And we are looking forward to you and and enjoying this race with you. I think it'll be a good day. I had fun setting the course, and hope you guys all enjoy being out there. So have fun, and we will see you soon.